Next thing we're going to do is adding fractions. Okay, and adding fractions has got something that is familiar with equivalent fractions or similar to equivalent fractions. Okay, well, let's start off with a little easy one. Okay, so if our denominators are the same, okay, so here we've got 1/2 and 1/2. Okay, if we want to add up fractions with the same denominator, it's very easy because, okay, your denominator always remains the same. You never add up denominators, okay? Denomination is actually, its root word is name, okay? It's the name of the fraction. A denomination is a name. So 2 is the name of your fraction. It is not a quantity, okay? So you do not add them up, they stay the same, okay? Your numerator is how much of that fraction is a part of. Okay, so you always add up your numerators. So 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay, hope you know that by now. Okay, guys, so 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 2 halves. Okay, 2 over 2 becomes 1 whole. Okay, so that is how you add up fractions with the same denominator. Okay, now let's change this up a little bit, and we're going to add up fractions with different denominators. Okay, so here we've got 1/2 plus 1/3. Okay, now this is where it gets a little difficult because if I've got 1/2 of a chocolate bar, okay, and Johnny's got 1/3 of a chocolate bar, okay, how am I going to add that up? Because if I said, guys, how much chocolate you got? Okay, Mr. F has 1/2, okay, and Johnny over here has got 1/3. How are you going to give me an answer? Because it's really difficult, because now all of a sudden you've got two different denominators. Okay, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So now I need a method to be able to add these together. Okay, and luckily maths has got lots and lots of methods, and this is one of them. In order to add up fractions of different denominators, you first have to find the lowest common denominator, the LCD. You remember this? Okay, so if I were to look at 2 and 3, okay, to find my lowest common denominator, let me take the multiples of 3, and I say 3. Does 2 fit into 3 exactly? No. Okay, the next multiple is 6. Does 2 fit into 6? Yes, it does. Does 3 fit into 6? Yep. Okay, so my lowest common denominator is going to be 6. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to change my denominators to 6. Something over 6 plus something over 6. Okay. Then I'm going to say, okay, same as with equivalent fractions, what did I do to my 2 to get to 6? Okay, and what I did was I said 2 times 3 gave me 6. So whatever I do to the bottom, I've got to do to the top. What I do to the nose, I've got to do to the nose. So 2 times 3 gave me 6. So 1 times 3 will give me 3. Okay. What did I do to 3 to get 6? I times it by 2. 3 times 2 gave me 6. So what I do to the toes, I've got to do to the nose. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So 3 times 2 gives me 6. So 1 times 2 gives me 2. Okay. Now you can add it, because now you've got the same denominator. Okay, you'll say your denominator is 6. So I've got denominators that are the same. I can add them up easily. So I don't add up the 6's because remember, that's just the name of the fraction, the denomination. Okay, but I do add up my numerators. 3 plus 2 gives me 5. My answer is 5 over 6. Okay, so here's another example. We've now got 3 numbers, but exactly the same principle applies. Okay, so the first things first is we have to find the lowest common denominator. The denominator that all 3 of these denominators can fit into. Okay, that they are factors of. Okay, so in order to do that, I take my highest number, okay, and I count in multiples. So I say 6. Does 3 fit into 6? Yep, it does. Does 4 fit into 6? No. Okay, so the next one will be 12. Does 3 fit into 12? Yep, it does. Does 6 fit into 12? It does. 4 fit into 12? Yep. So 12 is my LCD. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this is equal to something over 12 plus something over 12 plus something over 12. Okay, and I just change all my denominators. Okay, you got it. Then I'll say, okay, what did I times 3 by to get to 12? I times 3 by 4. Okay, so whatever I do to the bottom, I've got to do to the top. Okay, and I times my 1 by 4. What did I times 6 by to get 12? I times it by 2. So whatever I do to the toes, I've got to do to the nose. And I get 2. Okay. What did I times 4 by to get 12? I times it by 3. Whatever I did to the bottom, I've got to do to the top. Okay, so 3 times 3 gives me 9. Okay, so now you can see that all my denominators are the same, right? Okay, so all I've got to do is I've got to add up my numerators. So let's add them up. Okay, so my answer is going to be something over 12. Okay, 4 plus 2 gives me 6, plus 9 gives me 15. Okay, now we've got to, in fact, let me just put this up here so that I can give myself a little bit of space. Okay, so now I've got 15 over 12. I immediately see that this is an improper fraction because my numerator is bigger than my denominator. Okay, so I'm going to say, how many times does 12 go into 15? It goes in once. Okay, what's left over? Okay, 12 goes into 15 once. There's 3 left over. So 1 and 3 over 12. Okay. Can I simplify this further? Okay, so my whole stays the same. 1 stays the same. Doesn't change. A whole's a whole. Okay, but my fraction part, 3/12, can I simplify it? Is there something that fits into 3 that also fits into 12? Okay, so my 1 stays the same. Yes, there is. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 12 4 times. Okay, so my simplified answer is 1 and 1/4. Okay, so 1 and 1/4 is my answer. Okay, guys, next thing, subtracting fractions. We use exactly the same method. Okay, nothing different between subtracting fractions and adding fractions, except that the one's obviously taking away and the one's adding. Okay, we still look for the lowest common denominator. Okay, in this case we're going to look and see. Okay, let's take our highest denominator, which is 16, and we automatically see that, well, 8's going to fit into 16, so I think 16 will easily be our lowest common denominator. Okay, so then we're just going to say, we're going to change this denominator to 16 minus something over 16. Okay, what did we do to the 8 to get 16? We times it by 2. Whatever I did to the bottom, I've got to do to the top. So that becomes 10 over 16. Okay. 16, what did I do to 16 to get 16? Well, I can say it just stays the same, or I can say I times it by 1. Whatever I do to the bottom, I've got to do to the top. 2 times 1 remains 2. Okay. Now it's easy because you've got the same denominators. All I've got to do is subtract my numerators. So 10 minus 2 equals 8. Okay. Is that my final answer? Nope. Okay, because I have not simplified my answer yet. So to simplify my answer, I have to find something that fits into the 8 or into the numerator that also fits into the denominator. I have to find a factor of both numbers. Okay, what fits into 8 that also fits into 16? Okay, 2 fits in. Is there maybe a bigger number? Yeah, 4. 4 fits in there. But then think about it. A bigger number? What about 8? Yes, okay, 8 fits in. Cool. So 8 fits into 8. How many times? 8 divided by 8 gives me 1. Okay, 8 fits into 16. 2 times. Okay, so my simplified answer is 1 over 2 or 1/2. But guys, this is very logical because 8 16ths, or if I had 16 people in the class and 8 of them sat on one side of the class, that's half the people. So 8 16ths is 1/2. Okay, you got it.